She was not the kind of child who drew attention. In a room full of noise, she became smaller without trying. While others spoke loudly or laughed freely, she stayed quiet, listening more than talking. If someone asked her a question, she answered politely, but her voice stayed soft, almost careful. As if she was afraid it might break something. At school, she chose the same seat every day. Not the front, not the middle, always near the side. She liked being where she could see everything without being seen too much herself. When teachers called on students, her heart would race, even if she knew the answer. When the attention passed, she felt relief wash over her. People often said she was well-behaved or easy. And she was. But inside, she carried a quiet storm of thoughts and feelings she did not know how to share. Crowds made her uncomfortable. Too many voices at once made her head feel full. Even kind smiles could feel heavy, like a question she was not ready to answer. She was not unhappy. She just felt safer when she stayed in the background. There was only one place where that feeling disappeared. At home, tucked into a quiet corner of the living room, stood an old piano. It had been there for as long as anyone could remember. The wood was faded in places, and a few keys showed signs of age. When the house was silent, the piano sometimes made soft sounds like it was settling into itself. It was not perfect, but it was familiar. That piano felt like it belonged to her. When she sat down on the bench and placed her fingers on the keys, something inside her shifted. Her shoulders relaxed. Her breathing slowed. The tight feeling in her chest softened. She did not need to explain herself there. She did not need to choose words. The music spoke for her. She started with simple melodies, learning them slowly, one note at a time. At first, her fingers moved carefully, almost shyly, like she was asking permission from the keys. Over time, she grew more comfortable. The songs became longer. The sounds became fuller. She practiced almost every day. After school, she would drop her bag by the door and head straight to the piano. In the evenings, when the house grew quiet, she played again, letting the music fill the empty space. Sometimes she played the same piece again and again, not because she had to, but because it felt right. Music became the one place where she felt brave, but even then, she preferred to be alone. If footsteps came down the hallway while she was playing, her hands would tense. Sometimes she stopped altogether. Other times she kept playing but felt her focus slip. Being watched changed everything. The piano was her safe place, and she guarded it closely. She never imagined playing for anyone else. That is why the idea felt so strange. When it appeared one afternoon, a simple flyer rested on the kitchen table. It was easy to miss. Plain paper. Simple words. It talked about a small community event happening soon. Nothing fancy. Just neighbors coming together. There would be food, conversation, and a short open stage for anyone who wanted to perform. She barely noticed it at first. Then her eyes caught one line. Music welcome. All ages encouraged. She paused. The words stayed with her longer than they should have. She folded the paper, unfolded it, and read it again. Her heart beat a little faster, though she wasn't sure why. Someone nearby noticed her staring. Someone who had heard her music before, even if only from the other room. With a gentle tone, they mentioned that she could play if she wanted to. No pressure. No expectations. Just an option. Her stomach tightened. She shook her head right away. The answer came too fast, like a reflex. The idea of standing in front of people, sitting at a piano that was not hers, made her chest feel tight. She could already feel the heat in her face, the nervous shake in her hands. She tried to forget about it, but that night, as she lay in bed, the thought came back. The room was dark. The house was quiet. Her mind, however, was loud. She imagined the stage. She imagined the piano under bright lights. She imagined people turning toward her, waiting. She imagined her hands slipping. She imagined forgetting the notes. She imagined silence after a mistake. Her heart began to race. She turned onto her side and squeezed her eyes shut, wishing the thoughts would stop. But they didn't. The idea sat there, heavy and uncomfortable, refusing to leave. The next day, she tried to play like normal, but her fingers felt different. The music stumbled. Notes came out uneven. She stopped, frowned, and tried again. Still, it did not feel right. Frustration built in her chest, and she pulled her hands away from the keys. She sat there quietly for a moment. Then she realized something that surprised her. She was afraid, but she was also curious. What would it feel like to try? The thought scared her almost as much as it excited her. Later that day, after a long pause and a lot of silence, she said it out loud. Her voice was barely above a whisper. She said she would play. The moment the words left her mouth, fear rushed in. Her heart dropped. Her palms felt cold. She wanted to take it back right away, to say she had made a mistake. But the decision was already hanging in the air. Real and solid. There was no going back. The days before the event passed slowly. She practiced more than ever. Each afternoon she sat at the piano and played the same piece. Over and over. She worked on every note, every pause. Sometimes she felt confident. Other times she felt like she had forgotten everything. When she made mistakes, she stopped and started again. Her face grew serious. Her lips pressed together. She wanted the music to be perfect, even though she knew perfection was impossible. At night, sleep came slowly. She stared at the ceiling, listening to the quiet sounds of the house. Her thoughts ran in circles. She imagined walking onto the stage. She imagined sitting down. She imagined the moment right before playing, when the room would be silent and all eyes would be on her. That moment scared her the most. During the day she acted normal. She went to school. She did her homework. She smiled when spoken to. No one could see the fear growing inside her. She carried it alone like a secret. Then the day arrived. The morning felt strange from the moment she woke up. Her stomach felt tight and food tasted dull. She moved slowly, choosing clothes that felt familiar and safe. She wanted to disappear into them. The ride to the event was quiet. She watched the world pass by the window, her thoughts drifting in and out. When they arrived, the building seemed larger than she expected. It was not grand, but to her it felt overwhelming. Voices echoed from inside. Chairs scraped against the floor. Someone laughed loudly near the entrance. Her hands curled into her sleeves. Inside, the air smelled like wood and dust. The room was warm and filled with quiet energy. At the front stood the stage, simple, plain, and right there, under the lights, was the piano. It was not like the one at home. This one looked newer, shinier. The keys reflected the light, making them look almost too bright. She swallowed hard. Other performers went first. Someone sang with confidence. Another person played a guitar and made people laugh. Each performance ended with applause, kind and easy. The crowd seemed friendly, supportive, but that did not calm her nerves. As her turn got closer, her heart beat faster. Her fingers tingled. She wiped her hands on her clothes again and again. The room felt louder, even though people were settling into their seats. Then it happened. Her turn was called. For a moment, she did not move. It felt like time slowed down. The sounds around her faded. Her legs felt heavy, like they did not belong to her anymore. She could hear her own breathing, quick and shallow. Someone beside her gave a small nod. A quiet look of encouragement. She stood. Each step toward the stage felt unreal. The floor seemed too far away. She kept her eyes down, focused on moving forward. Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure others could hear it. When she reached the piano, she paused. The bench felt cool when she sat down. She adjusted her position, trying to remember how she always did it at home. The lights above were bright. She could feel the presence of the audience. Even without looking at them, her hands hovered over the keys. For one brief moment, she thought about leaving. She could stand up. She could walk away. No one would stop her. No one would be angry. The thought pulled at her, strong and tempting. Then she remembered the quiet afternoons at home. The way the music made her feel steady. The way it helped her breathe. She took a small breath. Her fingers lowered. The first note filled the room, and everything became still. The first note floated through the room, light and unsure. It did not rush. It did not try to be loud. It simply existed. For a brief second, the sound felt lonely, like it might fade away if she did not catch it in time. Her fingers trembled slightly as they moved to the next key. Her shoulders were tight. Her breath came shallow and quick. She was very aware of herself. She could feel the bench beneath her. She could feel the warmth of the lights above. She could feel the presence of people sitting just a few feet away. Watching, listening, waiting. Her heart raced. The second note came out softer than she wanted. The third followed, then the fourth. The opening was not perfect. She knew that. A small part of her panicked, whispering that it was already going wrong. Her fingers hesitated. For a moment, it felt like everything might stop. Then something familiar happened. Her hands remembered. They remembered the quiet afternoons at home. The long evenings spent playing the same piece again and again. The way the music felt when she closed her eyes and let it guide her instead of fighting it. She took a slow breath without thinking. Her shoulders lowered just a little. The next few notes came more smoothly. The melody began to form, like a path slowly appearing under her feet. She focused on the keys, on the pattern she knew so well. She stopped thinking about the room. She stopped thinking about the people. Just her and the piano now. The shaking in her hands eased. Not completely, but enough. As the music continued, something changed in the room. At first, no one noticed. People had been polite, quiet, respectful. But now they were truly listening. A few leaned forward in their chairs. Someone in the back stopped whispering. Even the smallest sounds, shifting feet, soft coughs, seemed to fade. The melody grew stronger. Her fingers moved with more confidence. The notes flowed into each other, rising and falling like gentle waves. The music carried feeling, even if she did not know how to name it. There was tenderness in it. There was hope. There was a quiet kind of courage. She was no longer thinking about mistakes. When one came, she let it pass and continued. She did not freeze. She did not stop. She kept going. That alone felt like a victory. The room felt different now. The space that once felt heavy, with eyes, now felt calm, almost warm. The audience was not judging. They were sharing the moment with her. Even though she did not look up, she could feel it. For the first time, she felt something unexpected. She felt seen, but not in a way that scared her. She felt understood. As the piece moved toward its middle, the sound deepened. The music became fuller, richer. Her hands moved more freely, as if they belonged to the piano as much as the piano belonged to them. She forgot about the lights. She forgot about the stage. She forgot about herself. She simply played. Time felt strange. She could not tell if seconds or minutes were passing. The music carried her forward, note by note, moment by moment. In the audience, a few people felt something shift inside them. Some were surprised by how much emotion came from such a small figure at the piano. Others felt memories stir, memories they had not thought about in years. A few did not fully understand why they felt moved, but they did. No one spoke. No one moved. They listened. As the final section of the piece approached, her breathing slowed even more. Her fingers pressed the keys with care, with intention. She wanted to finish well, not perfectly. But honestly, the last notes approached quietly. She played them gently, letting each one linger just a moment longer than the last. The final note rang out, soft and clear, and then faded into silence. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. The room held its breath. She kept her hands resting lightly on the keys, afraid to move too soon. Her heart pounded again, but this time it felt different. It was not panic. It was something else. Something close to relief. Then the applause began. At first, it was gentle. A few hands clapping. Then more joined in. The sound grew, filling the room, warm and steady. It was not loud in a shocking way. It was sincere. She lifted her hands from the piano slowly. Her eyes stayed down as she stood. She did not know where to look. The noise felt overwhelming, but not in a painful way. Her chest felt tight, yet light at the same time. She gave a small bow, barely more than a nod. The applause continued. Some people smiled openly. Others clapped with quiet pride. A few wiped their eyes without realizing they were doing it. There was no cheering, no shouting, just a shared feeling of appreciation. She walked off the stage carefully, Her leg still unsteady. As soon as she stepped down, the noise softened behind her. The world felt strange, like she had stepped out of a dream. Someone nearby whispered something kind. Someone else gave her a gentle smile. She nodded, unsure what to say. Her hands were still shaking. She found a seat and sat down, wrapping her arms around herself. Her heart slowly began to calm. She listened as the event moved on, but the sounds felt distant, like they were coming from far away. Inside, something was settling. Later, when the event ended and people began to leave, a few paused near her. They did not say much. They did not need to. A simple "thank you" or "that was beautiful" was enough. Each word landed softly, but deeply. On the way home, she stared out the window again, watching the lights pass by. The quiet felt different now. It was not heavy. It was peaceful. She replayed the moment in her mind, the walk to the stage, the fear, the first shaky notes. The way it all slowly came together. She realized something then. She had been afraid of being seen, because she thought it meant being judged. But what she felt on that stage was not judgment. It was connection. That night she sat at her piano at home. The room looked the same as it always had. The old bench, the familiar keys, the soft shadows on the wall. But she was not the same. She placed her fingers on the keys and played. The music sounded familiar, yet different. There was more confidence in it now. More freedom. She smiled to herself, a small, private smile. She did not suddenly become fearless. She did not wake up the next day loud or bold or eager for attention. She was still shy. She still preferred quiet corners and soft voices. But now, she carried something new with her. She carried the knowledge that she could step forward when it mattered, that she could finish something even when she was scared, that her voice spoken or played had value. That small stage did not change her life in a loud or dramatic way. There were no bright spotlights afterward, no sudden attention, no big promises, but it changed something inside her. And sometimes that is the real miracle. She learned that courage does not always look strong. Sometimes it looks like a quiet child sitting at a piano, hands shaking, choosing to play anyway.